Hey guys, and welcome back to another Warlords of Draenor video. This time we're going to be talking about Draenor itself, the continent. Now, I did do a previous video before this was all announced and before Blizzcon on the lore of Draenor and the history, so it's probably worth taking a look at that. In this video, I'm more talking about Draenor just sort of in the more expansion context, in the context of all the new information that has been released. So, where is Draenor? Well, it's essentially the same as Outland, but before Outland was destroyed and became Outland. We are going to get there via the Dark Portal, and essentially the Dark Portal turns red, and we go to this version. It seems to be some sort of either alternate timeline thing, or more that our history currently isn't affected by the time travel because we go in as a vanguard and stop anything from ever happening that's bad. So Draenor is the heart of the Draenei and the Orc civilizations, because the Orcs of course are not natives to Azeroth. They used to live on exclusively on Draenor. The Draenei, however, did arrive there from another planet called Argus. They were being chased by the Burning Legion, but they did manage to settle on Draenor and form, well, very substantial settlements there. It really is the heart of their race, and it's quite cool. It's also the home of the Primal Giants, so this is stuff like the Grahn and the Ogres. And in terms of in-game, we're going to get 7 new zones. These are called Frostfire Ridge, Gorgrond, Tanaan Jungle, Nagrand, Talador, Shadowmoon Valley, and the Spires of Iraq. So, Frostfire Ridge and Gorgrond are essentially what used to be, in terms of what we know, the Blade's Edge Mountains. Frostfire Ridge is a kind of volcanic snowy place, and Gorgrond is a little bit like Durotar, but full of like steam vents and stuff like that. Honestly, they both look quite cool. Tanaan Jungle is a dense jungle area, and it's where the Dark Portal is, and it's essentially what later would turn into Hellfire Peninsula. Talador is kind of like a portion of, it's where Shattrath City is, and it is a portion of Terracor Forest, and it includes places like Arcanuodon, and it really is one of the heartlands of the Draenei, the real, like, their main sort of place. And in this, Shattrath is far, far bigger. It's, well, it's the center of their civilization. It's absolutely ginormous. There's also the Spires of Iraq. I'm not too sure about this place, but it is where the Arakor are from, and perhaps some of the southern areas of Terracor Forest are there, mixed in with some other land masses that were destroyed in Outland. We also have Nagrand, which is the least change of the zones, but honestly, look, I get to go to Nagrand again, and a revamped Nagrand that's new, so I am bloody well sold. Then there's Shadowmoon Valley, and Shadowmoon Valley is, in this time, it's always night, which is the first interesting thing, and for the rest of it, it's kind of like rolling hills, that style of thing. Overall, looks quite cool. So there's the world of Draenor, and as you can see, it does map onto Outland quite well. However, there are a few different things. You'll also notice Zangar Marsh doesn't have a direct equivalent. This is because there's actually the Sea of Zangar, but Zangar Marsh has not formed yet. We can also see a continent to the bottom left, and this continent is the Ogre homeworld, and it's the center of, not homeworld, it's like the center of the Ogre Empire, and the Ogres sort of made their way up onto Draenor. So perhaps Draenor isn't actually the name of the planet, maybe it's just the continent. Honestly, it's hard to know at this stage. So Shattrath is not the main city of the Draenei, well, it's not the main Alliance city or the main city of the expansion, it is the main city of the Draenei, and the Alliance will defend it from from Orc forces. Now, Black Temple will actually be the main Alliance city, and for the Horde it's going to be Frostfire Ridge. Now, the zones here are very different to Cataclysm. Whereas in Cataclysm some of the things were more just revamps, these are 100% new places. There is no editing or anything like that, they are just made from the ground up. And they're only really very partial zone correlations, and honestly, from seeing stuff and comparing them, it's partial at that. So, yeah. One thing I should probably mention is that for the Spires of Iraq, the Arakor are apparently less twisted, so I suppose we'll see them more in their normal form. Now, as for other things, the bottom left, there is the giant ogre continent, and what's interesting about this is, and I forgot to mention earlier, the ogres are actually in decline in terms of their empire, and that's why the ogres are in decline, the orcs are rising up, which will make quite interesting things. I wonder if I'll ever go to that continent. Honestly, if it's just ogres, I don't really see a particular reason why. However, one thing that they did say is that the events at the end of this expansion will very much lead into the rest. I think that a really Interlude will probably appear at the end of this expansion. Perhaps I'll do a speculation video on that. But hey, maybe we'll see this ogre continent, maybe we won't. Who knows? Anyway, one of the things that they said about Draenor is that it's far, far more savage than Azeroth. There's only one empire, which is the Ogres. So really a lot of the land is untamed, it's savage, it's got dangerous creatures, and very much a sort of shock to the system from Azeroth. Hell, I thought Azeroth was damn savage or something, wanted to kill you everywhere you damn go. But apparently Draenor even a step up from that. And the equivalent of Netherstorm is going to be a patch area, so I can't exactly say what that will be. Now, in terms of the races that we'll find here, they say there's not a lot of civilized races, and there's, well, I'll just go through what they mentioned. There are the Gron, which are as we know them, but probably, well, they're quite larger, as we'll see. And there's also the Genosaurs, which are a little bit like the Magnetar from Northrend. There's the Ogres, which are definitely a different style. They're not like the ones from Dire Maul. They're bigger, stronger, and more vicious. There's also the Saberon. These look like a race of cat-like humanoid creatures. Next we have Dragonflies. These will be a mount, and they do seem to be pretty damn big. And then there's also Chimeras, which are the Draenor style of Chimera, and they're definitely quite a step up from the ferocity side and just the visual side from what we're used to on Azeroth. So there you go, that's a brief look at Draenor. I'll go into specifics about the zones and the war chiefs and the orc clans on those zones, but for now this is all we'll get. Anyway, if you want to stay tuned to all of my BlizzCon coverage, I recommend subscribing to the channel. There's going to be a lot of it. There's already been like 10 plus videos today, and that'll probably continue tomorrow. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Warlords of Draenor video. This time we're going to be talking about Draenor itself, the continent. Now, I did do a previous video before this was all announced and before BlizzCon on the lore of Draenor and the history, so it's probably worth taking a look at that. In this video, I'm more talking about Draenor just sort of in the more expansion context, in the context of all the new information that has been released. So, where is Draenor? Well, it's essentially the same as Outland, but before Outland was destroyed and became Outland. We are going to get there via the Dark Portal, and essentially